Hello, everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the special presentation brought to us by Marvel's television, The Punisher One Last Kill. And of course, this is based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name, and this is the third special presentation from the MCU. We've gotten Werewolf by Night, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, and this film here. Well, special. It's not a film. It's only 45 minutes long. But my God, all that they fit in 45 minutes is amazing. Reprising the role of Frank Castle, a.k.a. The Punisher, is Jon Bernthal, who first stepped into the Punisher's shoes back in a Netflix series, starting off in Daredevil, spearing off into his own series, and even appeared in the first season of Daredevil Born Again on Disney Plus. Now we get Jon Bernthal as this just one-man wrecking crew yet again for this special presentation that sees Frank Castle trying to live a life without the need for revenge as the vigilante, the Punisher, only to be drawn back into an unexpected conflict with crime lord Ma Gnucci. Man, look, I when they said it was a special presentation, it was just going to be an hour long, I was upset because I wanted a full-length feature film of the Punisher, especially with Jon Bernthal, who was born to be the Punisher. And just before we hop in, let me just start off by saying it may come off as bias and whatnot because I'm a big, huge, giant Punisher fan. I loved him in the comics because he was a change of pace in the comics because he was a rated R character. You know, it was weird to read those comic books growing up. You know, coming from X-Men and Spider-Man and going over to DC and you got Batman and Superman and all that good stuff. But to see a character who isn't superhuman, doesn't have a suit, he's not a billionaire playboy by day. He's just a man. He's just a man who don't just kill you. He literally punishes you. And I don't know, maybe it's the sick, sadistic side of me. I just love Frank Castle. And I even loved every iteration of a live action Frank Castle. Going back to the Dolph Lundgren film from, what was it, the early 90s? And it was stupid. The movie was horrible. I'm not going to excuse it. It was a horrible movie, but I love the Punisher, you know? Thomas Jane's depiction of Frank Castle. Didn't mind it. You know, it wasn't the greatest. Didn't mind it. Punisher Warzone that starred the late Ray Stevenson as Frank Castle. I liked that movie. Really, really liked that movie. I thought he was perfect in the role. And then we transitioned into Jon Bernthal's run as the character. And I was like, well, forget everybody else. Jon Bernthal is the guy. This short presentation of the Punisher that we got on Disney Plus was everything that the Punisher needed to be. And this is hands down the goriest, bloodiest, brutal, anything that Disney Plus, Marvel Studios has ever released. To say it was only 45 minutes long, this was the bloodiest thing I've ever seen in DC or Marvel. I mean, this was combined. This was unbelievably brutal for 45 minutes. And to add a compelling story to it all, some compelling performances to it all, I don't know how they fit it all in 45 minutes. Still, plus all of the action sequences that we got towards the end, which took up about 20 minutes of that 45. But before we got to the brutality of it all, it was so much character development and story that 2-hour films don't even do. They can't even accomplish that, which makes you even more confused. But it is so well written and directed. This presentation is directed by Reinaldo Marcus Green, who directed the Bob Marley biopic. He directed King Richard, that got Will Smith an Academy Award and got Chris Rock slapped at the Academy Awards. But he's a real good director. He also worked with Jon Bernthal on that HBO show We Own the City, which was really, really good if you haven't checked that out. And man, didn't see this coming. Did not see this coming. I was excited, of course, but I did not see a good presentation. I want to call it a movie so bad because it felt like I watched a full-length feature film. With we get into this. We jump into this. It picks up right after season 1 of Daredevil Born Again, when the Punisher escaped the task force that Wilson Fisk put together. And so at this point, he's taken out all of the families, all of the mafia families that were associated with his family's death. And so he's done. He no longer has a purpose. So we pick up with him going through all of this PTSD with some of his old servicemen that he served with, and the ghost of them yelling at him and talking to him, and he's just freaking out. And he goes to his wife and his children's grave and talks to them, and he's going through it. He is going through it. He's walking through the city, and the city is in pure chaos. I mean, this is like the worst city to ever live in. I don't know how this place exists, but you got murders happening in broad daylight in the middle of the street, police being chased off, dogs being stolen and thrown under garbage trucks. It's just pure chaos in the city, and he's walking around with like nothing. He's done, to the point he's ready to give up on everything. And at the last moment, he kind of says no. He sees a vision of his daughter, and he moves on from that. He goes back to his apartment, and he meets Ma Gnucci, and she's played by Juliet Light, who I know she's been working, constantly, pretty consistently. But me personally, I haven't seen her since not Growing Pains. Who's the Boss? I haven't. It's like, dang, where has she been? And I know she's popped up in things, over time. Most recently, I think she popped up on American Horror Story, if I'm not mistaken. But nothing recently that I'm like, oh man, that's Juliet Light. Nothing like that until now. Man, I loved her character. I loved her performance. Wasn't in it long, of course, because it didn't have much time to be in it. But the little screen time that she had, she was awesome. I'm like, man, she had that gear? I didn't know she had that gear. And bravo to Juliet Light, man, as the villain here. She is the last member of that family, the one remaining, and she puts a bounty on Frank Castle's head. So they all converge on where he lives at. All of these thugs in the city converge onto his apartment complex, and all of a sudden it turns into The Raid. If y'all ever saw that movie, The Raid, and how awesome that movie was, imagine that packed into a 10-minute sequence with the Punisher while he's on fire. While he's being stabbed and sliced up. Bruh, unbelievable sequence. Those last 10 to 15 minutes of this show, action-wise, is some of the best you've seen on screen, big or small. It was awesome, bro. Awesome. This was Punisher. This was the Punisher I've been waiting to see my entire life. And to get it in a special presentation was mwah, just awesome. I keep mentioning the time. I keep mentioning that it was 45 minutes long. At first, that was a knock. Then it turned into the biggest positive. This was perfect. This was absolutely perfect. I think stretching this out to a 90-minute, 120-minute movie would have been good. You would have got a good movie. You know, you probably added some more subplots or whatever with a couple of characters and whatnot. That's all fine and good, you know, but just to tell this singular story here, you know, just all takes place in one day, basically, in what, one or two locations, was perfect. It was like a special edition comic, a standalone comic. It was awesome. Bravo to Marvel, bruh. Bravo. They need to do more special presentations of other characters. You know, some characters that they most likely won't ever put on the big screen, you know, give them their own movie or whatever. I think Blade would be a perfect candidate for it. For some strange reason, they can't get the movie off the ground. And so won't you do a little special presentation, you know, like a Midnight Suns type deal? And that would be perfect. This was the blueprint. This was perfect. Awesome job, man. Jon Bernthal, I hope and pray. I know we're going to see him again in a couple of months here as the Frank Castle in Spider-Man Brand New Day, but I hope and pray that he continues on going down the line. I hope he never hangs up that colored bulletproof vest. That is the role that he was born to play. He was born to play this role, and he is awesome in everything. Jon Bernthal is one of my favorite current actors working, but kudos to them. Like, kudos to everybody involved. Reinaldo Marcus Green and Jon Bernthal, Kevin Feige, everyone over there who contribute to this show or this special presentation as it is. You got the stamp of approval from me. The Punisher, One Last Kill, gets a letter grade of an A. Awesome job. Awesome job. I will be watching this ad nauseum because it's a quick watch. You know, it's a quick watch. You can watch this and be amazed with all of the gore. And I mean, when I say brutal kills, brutal. I'm talking. I compared other comic book movies to it, but no, you can compare other action movies to it. This is some brutal stuff. Frank Castle works this big old muscular, tatted up cat with a pen. And I mean, turned him literally into a pincushion. It was brutal. Brutal. Every death was brutal. He was the Punisher. But I like to know, what were your thoughts of the Punisher One Last Kill, which was like 80 last kills that he had in this show. What was your thoughts? Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Marvel Television special presentation of The Punisher One Last Kill. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.